Hello everyone, in this video, I'm going to read the 72-page report for you guys about Hans Niemann. Yes, I'm going to read the whole thing. So without further ado, let's start. Okay, so this is the report, okay, about Hans Niemann. Okay, let me read it for you guys. Chess.com's current research and findings, October 2022. Over the last few weeks, the world has been following the major story regarding Hans Niemann, Magnus Carlsen, and cheating in chess. This has become a matter of significant public interest, both inside and outside of the chess world. And we present in this report our exploration of the events, circumstances, and data that have informed Chess.com's decisions concerning the current controversy, as well as the issue of cheating in chess more generally. At the outset, we want to make clear that while these events highlight a critical topic in chess, cheating, the vast majority of chess games do not involve any cheating. We estimate that fewer than 0.14% of players on chess.com ever cheat, so that's actually quite little, and that our events are by and large free from cheating. We firmly believe that cheating in chess is rare, preventable, and much less pervasive than is currently being portrayed in the media. With that background, the following is a brief summary of our findings and takeaways. Firstly, we present evidence in this report that Hans likely cheated online much more than his public statements suggest. However, while Hans has had a record-setting and a remarkable rise in rating and strength, in our view there is a lack of concrete statistical evidence that he cheated in this game with Magnus or in any other over-the-board in-person games. We are presenting our findings here and will cooperate with FIDE on any further investigation. We were never pressured by Magnus or his team whatsoever to remove Hans from Chess.com or revoke his invitation to the Chess.com Global Championship, which is CGC in short form. Nor did we communicate with Magnus regarding our decisions on these issues before we made them. In fact, Magnus did not even know we were going to remove Hans until Hans went public with our private correspondence. Thirdly, we uninvited Hans from our upcoming major online event and revoked his access to our site based on our experience with him in the past. Growing suspicions among top players, and our team his rapid rise of play, the strange circumstances and explanations of his win over Magnus, as well as Magnus' unprecedented withdrawal. In order to have more time to investigate the over-the-board situation and our own internal concerns, we uninvited Hans from our event and prevented his access to chess.com. We are, we are open to continuing a dialogue with Hans to discuss his status on chess.com. And lastly, we believe that chess organizers, federations, companies, and players can all work together more effectively to create great and assuredly fair chess events. First, the mission of chess.com. So this is basically talking about the mission of chess.com. Since the founding of chess.com, our mission has always remained the same: to grow the game of chess and to help people enjoy their lives through playing, learning, and watching chess. We remain committed to that mission through the products, content, and events that we continue to produce. We aren't just a business. We are passionate fans of the game and have spent years working to serve the needs of the chess community. We feel a deep sense of responsibility to act as trustworthy stewards of the game for the community. We feel a deep sense of responsibility to act as trustworthy stewards of the game For the nearly 100 million members who have signed up, the 20 million players who use our service each month, and the thousands of titled players, coaches, and chess professionals who rely on us to protect the game. We understand that the events of the last few weeks have been disappointing for many chess fans. Though we have tried to always act in line with our mission while doing our best to protect the integrity of the game, we recognize, as we analyze and replay the rapid series of events that took place, that we could have made several better moves, and we hope to have learned a lot in this process. Our hope is that this report will be a first step towards clearing up any confusion as, as to why we took certain steps in the wake of the September 4th, 2022 Carlsen vs Niemann match in St. Louis at the 2022 Springfield Cup. Second, the timeline of events. September 4th, 2022. Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces and Hans Niemann with the black pieces played a game at the Springfield Cup in St. Louis in which Hans Niemann won. Then, later that day, Hans gave a post-game interview. Then, the next day, Magnus tweets his withdrawal of the event, linking to a video clip in which a soccer manager, which is Jose Mourinho, can be heard saying, "I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble." Chess.com emails Hans privately to let him know that his account have been discreetly disclosed and his invitation to the CGC has been withdrawn. A copy of this email is attached as Exhibit A. It has historically been Chess.com's general policy to handle account suspensions, closures, and invitations for titled players, such as Hans Niemann, in a non-public manner. Then, the next day, Hans publicly addressed his ban by Chess.com, stating that although he cheated a few years ago when he was 12 and 16 years old, he have never cheated in a tournament with prize money, when I was streaming or in a real game. Chess.com sends Hans a letter personally laying out the reasons for the decisions to revoke his status on Chess.com's and to disinvite him from the CGC, a copy of which is attached as Exhibit B. Then, Chess.com's response to Hans' public comments via a tweet, which is below image 1. So this is the public comment. Dear chess community, the last few days have been tumultuous for many in the chess community. At this time, we have reached out to Hans Niemann to explain our decision to privately remove him from chess.com and our events. We have shared detailed evidence with him concerning our decision, including information that contradicts his statements regarding the amount and seriousness of his cheating on chess.com. We have invited Hans to provide an explanation and response with the hope of finding a resolution where Hans can again participate on chess.com. We want nothing more than to see the best chess players in the world succeed in the greatest events. We will always act to protect the integrity of the game as we all love. Danny Resch, Chief Chess Officer. Okay, then on September 27, 2022, Magnus releases a public statement explaining his unprecedented professional decision to withdraw from the Springfield Cup. He indicates that he believes that Hans Niemann has cheated more and more recently than he has publicly admitted. 3. The basis of our decision to remove Hans from chess.com and withdraw his CGC invitation. Given the significant public interest in the actions of Chess.com and various questions within the chess community about the motivations behind our actions to regard to Hans, we believe it is important to answer the following questions at the outset. Did Magnus tell us to close Hans' account on Chess.com and or revoke his invite to the CGC? The answer is no. Magnus did not ask us to close Hans' account or to rescind his invitation to the CGC. In fact, Magnus did not have any prior awareness of our decisions on either of those issues. Furthermore, we want to clarify that nobody asked us to remove Hans from the CGC. Not Magnus, not Hikaru, not any other title player. However, numerous top players participating in our events have expressed private concern over Hans competing in our events for some time, and many directly questioned how we were going to ensure fair play in the CGC. Magnus, like the rest of the world, found out about our decisions when Hans made those decisions public in his statements to the press on September 6, 2022. We communicated with Hans privately that we were closing his chess.com account and rescinding his invitation to the CGC. As shown in Exhibit A, we also informed Hans that while he would not be able to play in the event, we would pay him a baseline prize money he would have received if he had participated in the match, which he has not collected yet. Uh, we intended to handle everything discreetly. Hans elected to make those actions public. Second question: does Chess.com believe that Hans cheated in his September 4th, 2022 over the board game against Magnus Carlsen in the Springfield Cup? And more generally, do we believe that Hans has cheated in other over the board games? Despite the public speculation of these questions, in our view, there is no direct evidence that proves Hans cheated at the September 4th, 2022 game with Magnus, or proves that he has cheated in other over the board games in the past. That said, as set forth more fully below in section X, we believe certain aspects of the September 4th game were suspicious, and Hans' explanation of his win post-event added to our suspicion. As to his over-the-board play more generally, in section VII below we discuss what we believe are apparent anomalies to Hans' rise in over-the-board rating. Of note, we discuss how Hans became the fastest rising top player in classical over-the-board chess in modern recorded history much later in life than his peers, and did, did it after we have removed him from playing on our side in 2020. Despite these potential suspicions, as shown below in section VII, an in-depth review of Hans over the board games using chess.com statistical methods reveal aggregate patterns of play that, while interesting, are possible of a rising player approaching 2700 rating. In section IX, we present Hans' top performing events based on his overall performance in strength and rating. We are prepared to cooperate with FIDE and respect their roles in leading this and any future over-the-board investigations. Third question: if Chess.com was not certain that Hans cheated in the Springfield Cup, why did we take steps to revoke his invitation to the CGC and close his Chess.com account in the wake of his match with Magnus? We based this decision on several factors. First, as detailed in the report, Hans admitted to cheating in chess games on our site and recently has 2020 after our cheating decision software and team uncovered suspicious play. Second, we have suspicions about Hans' play against Magnus at the Springfield Cup, which were intensified by the public fallout from the event. Third, we had concerns about the steep, inconsistent rise in Hans' rank, set out in section VII of this report. Like others in the broader chess community. Finally, we face a critical decision point at an unfortunate time. Could we ensure the integrity of the CGC, which was scheduled to start a few days after the Springfield Cup on September 14th, 2022, for all participants, if Hans took part in that event? After intensive deliberation, we believe the answer was no. The CGC had 64 participants and a 1 million prize. Under the circumstances, And based on the information we had at that time, we did not believe we could confidently assure the participants and top players that a player who has confessed to cheating in the past and who has had a meteoric rise coupled with growing suspicions in the community about his over-the-board performance would not potentially undermine the integrity of our event. We realized that the timing of these decisions was not ideal, but we had really few days to find a replacement participant in the CGC. If we had contacted players to replace Hans in the bracket without first letting Hans know, we believe that we would have created an entirely new set of challenges, including potentially inaccurate information being shared with Hans by other players before we had the chance to discreetly inform him of the reasons of our decisions. Therefore, it was critical that we acted quickly, directly, and privately with Hans. Numerous staff members who were not privileged to fair play processes were anxious to confirm the announcement of the 64-player bracket, update all necessary schedules and public-facing content, as well as share the news with the community about the participants of our 100,000 fantasy bracket. We felt that delaying the decision would have had a material outcome on the event. We realized then that we need to do a deeper dive on the allegations surrounding Hans, and thus promptly started the work on his report, which begins to aggregate historical evidence of Hans' play and lays out instances where he cheated on our side. While we could have liked to have had more time to prepare these findings and research, Magnus' withdrawal from the Springfield Cup and then Hans' decision to make the issue public forced expedient action, especially considering the practical and logistical pressures we faced, as outlined in the previous paragraph. It must be emphasized that we never intended our concerns about Hans' fair play and violations to be a public conversation. It has always been our general approach to handle account closures for titled players privately, as we have done for Hans in the past. Indeed, his recent removal of chess.com and the CGC was also communicated privately. He chose to make these communications public. As a result, we feel compelled to share the basis of our decisions publicly with the community. We fully understand the confusion and criticism among many in the chess community about our decisions to ban Hans from our platform and resign his invitation to the CGC shortly after his match with Magnus at the Springfield Cup, particularly if we did not have evidence proving he cheated over the board. The truth is, there is no perfect way to make decisions at the time. We did the best we could working with the information and short timeline we had. Additionally, we felt that simply uninviting him to the CGC but allowing him continued access to chess.com to compete in other events could result in more confusion, and we wanted to take some time to review the situation and then ultimately have a private conversation with Hans. We did not anticipate that he would make it a public conversation. Fourth, Hans cheating on chess.com. Consistent with the letter we sent Hans privately on September 8, 2022, we are prepared to show within this report that he, in fact, appears to have cheated against multiple opponents in chess.com prize events. Beyond the titled Tuesday event that Hans admitted to have cheated in when he was 12, Speed Chess Championship qualifiers, and the Pro Chess League. We also have evidence that he appears to have cheated in sets of rated games on chess.com against highly rated, well-known figures in the chess community, some of which he streamed online. These findings contradict Hans' public statements. In particular, in interviews given during the 2022 Springfield Cup, Hans made several comments to the press about alleged instances of prior cheating. First, other than when I was 12 years old, I've never ever ever, and I will never do that. that is the worst thing I could ever do. Cheat in a tournament with prize money. Never when I was streaming did I cheat. Keep in mind I was 16 years old. I never wanted to hurt anyone. Those were random games. I would never, could even phantom doing it in a real game. As discussed in more detail below, we disagree with these statements. At chess.com, the Fair Play team is a sophisticated internal analytical team that assesses potential cheating cases on our platform. Common types of cheating examples range from every move is an engine move, where every move played is the top move recommended by the chess engine, to we don't have enough evidence to close, where the player's moves are unusually sophisticated, but still within realistic bounds of statistical possibility. We have gathered detailed evidence on Han's play, and we have determined through intensive review of the evidence that there were numerous games where Han's gameplay fell along his spectrum, strongly suggesting that he violated our fair play regulations. The review of this entire history on our site and advances in our methodology support our conclusion. Table 1 below shows contains events and matches which appears that Hans cheated. Okay, so this is table 1 when he was, I think, July 7, 2015. I think like in the like this table is talking like in this tournament they had how many games how many games chess.com thinks he cheated. So in this in example in this tournament, Hans even played 9 games, and and all of the games he is likely to cheat in. And then this is the time control, the strength score, like the accuracy. Like when you do a game review, they'll show you the accuracy. Like see all these tournaments, and these are the dates. And most of them are actually on 2020, if you realize so. And the rating just says there, so it's nothing. Only this tournament, I think Pro Chess League, 30 he played 32 matches, but like only 12 of the matches he likely cheated it. Okay, so let's go on. Overall, we have found that Hans has likely cheated in more than 100 online games, including several prize money events. He was already 17 when he was likely cheated in some of these matches and games. He was also streaming in 25 of these games. How his performance in some of these matches may seem to be within the realm of some statistical possibility, the probability of any single player perform this well across these many games is incredibly low. In addition to this, the manual review conducted by a team of trained analysts was, in our eyes, conclusive enough to strongly suggest Hans was cheating. Notably, Ken Reagan, an independent expert in the field of cheat detection in chess, has expressed his belief that Hans cheated during the 2015 and 2017 titled Tuesdays, as well as numerous matches against other professional players in 2020. See image 2 below, which is Ken shared his view with us. Okay, so this is the email. Wait, is it email? I'm not sure. Never mind. So this Kenneth Reagan. Dear Eric and Sean, I have to see which particular interviews, but in all of the past 24 hours, I've referenced Tyler Cowen at this thing, and specifically the link given there to your statement Circus Sep 8 to 9 that Hans have not told the full extent of nature of his cheating. I have also emphasized the importance of Niemann having cheated on multiple occasions. Hmm. It is true that Roger has not cheated in a time period that I've quantified as since August 2020 or 2+ years either on the board or online. I certainly agree he cheated in 2015 and 2017 and in the 5 sets of games against Nepo, I don't know how to pronounce that, Bok, Nidrosky and Paravan. Indeed, our recent investigation was made in view of prior games in which we used these same tools to identify that Hans has cheated in games on our site. Notably, we initially closed Hans' account in 2020 due to suspected fair play violations. In 2020, During a private call with Danny Resch, CCO at chess.com, Hans was informed of his account closure for suspected cheating in these events and matches. During this call, Hans confessed to the cheating offenses. Following the call, Hans and Danny communicated over Slack, an internal real-time cheating offenses. Following the call, Hans and Danny communicated over Slack, an international real-time messaging system, where Hans asked how to acknowledge a cheating offense and how to affirm that it is would not ever happen again. In that call, Danny agreed to support Hans' desire to save face and announced publicly that he will voluntarily close his account to start fresh. Hans confirmed with Danny that he had made the announcement, to close his own account. Hans was also asked to email his admission to our team, but he did not. Given that Danny was trying to be helpful to see the best of Hans as a young rising player, the lack of email was ignored. See image 3 and image 4 below or click. Oh, okay, so this is the conversation. Hans Niemann said, "Hey, just saw this. Sometime from now till 1:30 Central works, or after my stream, which will probably end around 7 p.m. Central." Then Danny Rush replied, "Okay, we'll try to catch you soon. Talk in 15, I'll give you a Zoom link." Sure. This is the Zoom link. Cut out. I made on Hans on Twitch account. Great. You have been given the diamond title and updating ratings to 2500. Go ahead and add to your previous account profile that you have made a new account and voluntarily close it. Let me know when done. You also need to link up your username Hans on Twitch with your Twitch account. Mini here, this is the link. Finally, I've updated your affiliate. You have a new affiliate link of for your Twitch streams. Make sure you update that. I updated the profiles of I am Hans Niemann and Hans Cool Niemann. I think both of them are chess.com accounts, if I'm not wrong. Okay, then image 4. Then made an announcement on my stream. Got positive feedback. I believe that this I can't see positive and can help grow my stream and brand. Really glad to hear that, man. Hey Danny, where do I need to send the return statement? To this link. Acknowledge the offense and promise to never do it again. Okay, then Hans Niemann replied, okay. On later dates, Hans continued to acknowledge his prior cheating on chess.com. Of note, as shown in image 5 below, Hans discussed with Danny over Slack the possibility of lifting his ban and allowing him to compete in prize events. In these discussions, Hans continued to acknowledge his restriction from competitive chess due to his prior instances of cheating and reiterated that he understood his restriction from competing and further understood chess.com's decisions to deny him opportunities again in the future. This image 5. Hans Niemann, hey, just wanted to check in to see if you talked to your team and also remember you initially saying 6 months in our first call, but I could be misremembering. Anyways, I don't intend to fight any saucer or consequences and completely understand whatever he decides appropriate. Hey, sorry for the second message. I was just wanted to talk about the upcoming US chess qualifiers, and if you could make an exception and let me play. I'm only asking this for this because it's a really good opportunity, and given the time control of the qualifiers, this is the best chance I have at US champs port for a while. I completely understand your caution due to my past mistakes, but I will really appreciate any consideration. Hey, man. Sorry. Then Danny Resch replied, sorry for the delay. Had to discuss all of this internally with the few other managers I rely on this area. Unfortunately, we are going to uphold our band price events through the end of the year. Well, I know Chess.com never publicly banned you for cheating, so there's going to be questions of why isn't Hans playing? And I'm sure you have to deal with that. At the same time, we also both know that a ton of rumors circling our account is standing, and many who think they know what happened even without confirmation. This means you're playing with also lead of tons of questions and scrutiny of why is Hans playing in this event when hasn't been playing in TT or other events of most of the year. So like in the S JSCC, I just can't risk such a high profile event right now. If you did well, people will be accusing you not fair to you. I want to give it more time of you having come back, competed in events regularly for a bit, and then you can throw your hat in rings of bigger prizes again. We're open to you rejoining the title Tuesday and other prizes events coming back, like Arena King starting in January. You will be subject to proctoring second field of vision camera during this event. Pretty much everyone is, or lots are anyway at this point. Best wishes, man. And sorry I can't give you the answer you want at this time. That is more than completely fair, and I really, really appreciate you trusting me, giving me this chance. Also agree that, and don't think I should play. I was playing a match yesterday against, I don't know how to pronounce that, and was beating him like, and one throw came and accused me, and my entire chat started speculating. At this point, I'm honestly gonna give string competitive chess too much because I'm honestly afraid to overperform as an IM since I'm just really hurts to have my play questioned. Again, thanks a lot. Not even my closest friends have given me the benefit of the doubt, and you've gone out of your way to help me. Hey Danny, I just want to try again. Appreciate the opportunity to return to tournaments, but I'm still working really hard on classical chess. Don't intend on streaming too much now. I prefer to stay out of the spotlight and focus on classical chess. I appreciate all your help and hopefully I can return in the right time. Chess.com later granted Hans a chance to return, as we do for all players who have acknowledged their cheating and want a second chance. However, as for all players who are given an opportunity to return, we monitored Hans closely that we were aware of the risk of allowing him to play in our events. 5. How cheat detection works. So this is talking about how people detect cheating. Catching cheating in chess can be a difficult task, but it's one that chess.com feel extremely confident in giving our investment and track record. Statistics can give a strong indication, but can also be inconclusive in the context of numerous factors, such as opponent strength, opening moves, endgame moves, and other confounding factors. Indeed, numbers are just the starting point. By way of example, in the detection of sports doping, inhumanly high statistical performance is often a tip-off of sports doping, not a confirmation. The same could be said in a further example of poker cheating. Corroboration of potential foul play, initially tipped off by anomalous performances, often requires intensive analysis and collection of evidence through comparative analytics, factual investigations, and a detailed examination of other evidence. The same is true when evaluating whether a top player is cheating in chess. The basic concepts of cheat detection, particularly at the top level of chess, are both statistical and manual, involving comparing the moves made by engine recommended moves, removing some moves like the opening and some angry moves, focusing on key critical moves, discussing with a panel of trained analysis with strong players, comparing player past performance and no strength profile, comparing a player's performance to performance of comparable peers, looking at the statistical significance of the results, looking at if there is if there are behavioral factors at play, and lastly, reviewing time usage when compared to difficulty of the moves on the board. Okay, Chess.com employs highly rated and grandmaster fair plays and analysis precisely because there are many situations where human and required to understand how human versus computer a move actually is. Human chess and computer chess are different, even at the highest levels. The best humans play at an ELO rating is 2800. Stockfish, the most powerful chess engine, has an excellent rating of more than 3500. In a theoretical match between the world champion Magnus Carlsen versus Stockfish, we estimate that it was most likely that Magnus Carlsen would lose every single game, no wins and no draws. Most chess engines use neural nets which have been trained for millions of top-level chess games to capture the deepest of chess strategic understanding. They also have nearly infallible technical calculation, as they can look for more than 40 plus moves deep into the position and calculate potential outcomes. Like sometimes Stockfish, like I think one time they can find a mate in 41. Yeah, that's a kind of a lot. Humans rely on past experiences, heuristics, and guidelines. pattern recognition, and a fallible ability to calculate moves in the future, where they cannot see a live person. This leads to humans dismissing potential winning moves because they look to be bad based on past experience or general chess principles. But a computer is not constrained by these rules and will often make moves a human, even an elite player, would immediately reject. Similarly, even the best chess playing humans often make moves like seem sound, but are bad due to the series of calculations which show to be losing. Short players who have studied engines can profile humans' move and engine moves based on the expert knowledge of the characteristics discussed above. The better you are at chess, the deeper the profile you are able to develop around discriminating between human and computer moves. 6. Chess.com's best-in-class cheat detection and selective cheating. Chess.com's online cheating detection system is well known. In our 15-year history, it has been used to close the accounts of many non-professional online players, hundreds of titled players, dozens of GMs. It has illicit cheating confessions of 4 players in the FIDE top 100. To quote Hans himself, they have the best cheat detection in the world, which is chess.com. As part of our cheat detection process, chess.com is attuned to recognizing different types of cheating. Some Often newer players use a chess engine like Stockfish to decide every move they make. This form of cheating is obvious and easy to detect. Other players, especially those that play enhanced level, are much more sophisticated and engage in selective cheating, using a chess engine to give advice only in key moments, and often intentionally making subpar moves to mask up their engine use. At the higher echelons of competitive chess, many games are won or lost in a critical moment, and having any sort of assistance during those moments can turn the outcome of the game. Indeed, many top players have expressed that using a chess engine in just a handful of key moments can add hundreds of elo in strength. Top players need to cheat 3 times a game. Literally. Top players know so much about the position that even if you can insulate that they might be better or worse, they might find the right move. But they really only need to cheat 1 or 2 times. International master Levi Rossman said that. Have I started cheating in a clever manner? I'm convinced no one will notice. I'll have just indeed to cheat 1 or 2 times during the match. And I will not even need to be given moves. Just the answer on which move is was way better or here there is a possibility of winning. Mm. And here you need to be more careful. That is all I would need in order to be most invincible, which does frighten me. World Chess Champion and GM Magnus Carlsen said, which is translated. Former World Champion Vishwanathan Anand said that 1 bit per game, one yes no answer about whether the sacrifice is sound could be worth 100 or 150 rating points. Chess Life, June 2014. Cheating is a big problem, both online and over the board. Unfortunately, many people believe that cheating every move, 1, 2, 3 hints per game will be more than enough for some to become IMs, GMs, or win big tournaments. There are so many ways to cheat without ever being caught. That's really sad. GM Susan Polgas. I watched him really carefully. When he played this move 22, knight to b7 against Sarik, he took 10 seconds. It was a 5 to 10 minute thing, in my modest opinion, since the knight could take on f5 instead. But when he decided it in 10 seconds, I was shocked. He doesn't know where to put on the theoretics. You have to be strong enough to do that. If I had this gadget, I'll be killing people left and right, and nobody will know. This is a real danger, because if a 20,600 player has this thing, he knows exactly how to behave. He knows exactly when to think, and he doesn't need to use more than 4 times during a game. There's plenty to destroy anyone. At the critical junction, you switch it on and find out which way do I go. Oh, this little nuance I didn't see. Okay, fine, boom, goodbye. That's it. At the moment, you may think for a long time, although you know the move. But this guy doesn't know, he just mechanically played the first move of the computer. Everyone is a clown to him. He says Kirill Gorgev put me in a bunker with him and and I will destroy him. This guy has no moral compunctions. He's an absolute immoral. GM Maxime Dalgy said that. To detect such selective cheating, chess.com utilized sophisticated statistical methods that dig deep into the probability that any individual player could have achieved their results based on the past performance. Our detection system requires robust methodologies beyond simply looking at best moves, player ratings, and centipon laws. To effectively identify the vast majority of cheating, chess.com computers an aggregate strength score. Strength score is a measurement of the similarity between the moves made by a player and the moves suggested are strongest move by a chess engine. In a sense, it is a measure of the accuracy of play. The longer the chess game time control, example 3 hours per game versus 3 minutes per game, the higher the strength score will expected to be, since players with more time will be able to evaluate each position more deeply and carefully. The chess.com strength score ranges from 0 to 150, where 150 is the closest to perfect chess, with the chess engine at maximum depth and performance. A score of 100 is approximately the highest we can measure for human chess players that can be achieved over a several game span, and 90 is the highest score we have seen a top player sustain over time in classical chess time controls. Pure engine users alone would typically show score between 125 to 150 depending on time, device, engine, depth, etc. This strength score can show when a player is performing at a level above their actual chess strength, and on its own, our strength score is a helpful tool in successfully identifying cheating at nearly every level of play. Any player can have strong games of chess, but the strength score can tell us if continued strong play is legitimate or beyond the realm of statistical probability when compared to their overall skill level. Rating plays no part in chess.com's strength score, as players can significantly overperform or underperform their rating. However, in our experience, human players generally cannot legitimately stray too far from the established strength score for long. For players of Hans Niemann caliber, the strength score also serves an internal warning sign, which indicates to us that further analysis is review of gameplay is needed. For cases that involve high-profile players such as Hans, Chess.com employs a team of dedicated analytics who pore over the details of individual cases and take deep dives into the content of the players' games. There are several GMs on this team who reveal all titled cases, and all of them are still involved in the current investigation into Hans Niemann. When he admitted on cheating on chess.com in 2020, Hans had an IM title, which is at least one GM norm, and the performance is ultimately led to an action of having his account closed with benchmark with a strength score of 85.50 in 3-minute games. This performance, which is mentioned, Hans confirmed was attained via cheating, which was within the range of strength scores obtained from chess.com's reports of various GMs and their games at the time of their closure on chess.com. As seen in table 2 below, all these players including Hans admitted cheating. So these are some random GMs that they see like the score is so high, more than 100, which is seem like it's cheating. And here is Hans Niemann. He has an 85 and he admitted lah, basically. As an is as in apparent from table 2, our detection system can accurately identify players who have cheated in past across a large variation of chess skill. Hans' strength score is both lower and higher than a number of players that have confessed to cheating in the past, and we have successfully identified multiple players who have cheated despite having a relatively low strength score. For each of these cases, the stress score flags suspicious performances, and a dedicated move-by-move review by Chess.com team of analysis, so, analysis and high-rated players concluded that cheating has occurred. It is important to note that every one of the players in Table 2, including Hans, was given the benefit of the doubt, regardless of the strength of signal in strength score. Once alerted, we do a thorough and skeptical review of the data. If it merits further consideration, we begin a practical, human-driven analysis of the data, the game, the time usage, and whether algorithm signals I don't know how to pronounce that. Signals match up with each move over the board, as performed by the top fair play analysis, who is also a GM. When we do a final close an account, when we do finally close an account, we feel that we have given the most fair possible review, and we understand the weightiness of such a decision. It speaks to the sophistication and thoroughness of our systems and processes that we have closed accounts for players both stronger and weaker than Hans, and with stress scores above and below Hans, with a significant amount of confessions. As an illustration, one notable case of the list above was a player in the 3-day top 100 players. This person competed in a single event featuring 10 total games in 2020. Their strength score alone was not necessary enough to act. Uh, sorry, wait, something happened. I'm sorry, guys. Suddenly something popped out on my screen just now. So let me continue reading. Even considering this player's elo rating of nearly, wait, did I have yeah, okay. Even considering this player's elo rating of nearly 20,700, our expert team was able to discern the truth that this player was indeed selectively cheating using a chess engine. When confronted with our allegations that he had used outside help, they confessed, as shown in the reacted email exchange attached at Exhibit C to this report. They suspected of cheating in the platform. Finally, over-the-board cheating detection has not to date been the primary focus of chess.com. Instead, chess.com has spent years analyzing billions of chess games and developed an algorithm to track cheating in online games which happen at much faster time controls than classical over-the-board games. We focus on the time controls which are from 1 minute to 60 minutes per game, not classical games played over several hours. Additionally, our cheat detection system is focused on the full spectrum of players, from every beginner up to GM, especially for faster time controls. However, the stronger the player and the longer the time played, the more a human is capable of playing like a computer. And this is where the line can get really hard to draw. Even within the chess detection, different chess engines, different machines, and different amounts of time allocated to the moves will produce a wide array of chess moves, best moves, and evaluation scores of the moves played basically. We believe that there's much more that can be done to develop the methodologies and algorithms to ensure fair play at the highest level of chess play at classical time controls. But again, this has not been chess.com's area of focus or expertise, as we have focused on the full range of players at faster time controls. Sorry, we and do not offer cheat detection for classical time controls, nor actively monitor over-the-board play. Cheating is an over-the-board setting is harder than cheating online, though it has not stopped many from trying and some succeeding. Using various methods such as hand signals from a nearby coach or accessing a phone in the bathroom, a hidden device in a shoe, or a wire or buzzer taped to the body. Detecting cheating in over-the-board play require a mixture of security measures and algorithmic detection, neither of which are currently happening up to the standard to make conclusive determinations. We continue to encourage greater attention to considering how to prevent and police over-the-board cheating and hope to be part of devising solutions. Okay, Hans, over-the-board rise. Outside his online play, Hans is the fastest rising top player in classical over-the-board chess in modern history. Means he all his moves he play, he's faster than anyone else. Which is new generation of chess players. There's a small group who will eventually emerge as the top players. Some of the big names in the current generation Alizera Ferrugia, Vincent Camille, and Arjun Erigaisi. Looking purely at rating, Han should be classified as a member of this group of top young players. While we do not doubt that Hans is a talented player, we know that his results are statistically extraordinary. Increase in strength. As set forth in Table 3, between 2014 and 2022, Hans over the box classical strength score, according to chess.com's strength score, increased from 67.79 to 90.90, weighted slope of 2.67 per year. In comparison, Alizera's strength score only increased from 77.41 to 91.33, weighted slope of 1.61 per year during the same period. Sorry, Hunt is consistently above any contemporaries in strength increases, even though he has only recently shown the same caliber of play. Likewise, as set forth in figures A and B below, Hans had the fastest and biggest increases in his score over the time in comparison to his peers and other notable players. When considering all of their known classical over-the-board games played from age 11 to 19. So this is basically the rating, the what you call the thing, the like the accuracy of the game and showing what the increase of them. And this is the weighted yearly game, means like every year how much did the accuracy gain for these players. More of these. And then this table is the over the board strength improvement, which they improve. And as you can see, there are like a lot of names, like a lot of like Nihao Sarin, all of these players. And as you can see, Hans Niemann is the top with 653. Means he has improves 653 in strength, which is a lot. And then strength gained within the first 2.5 years after achieving 2,465 elo, which is basically Hans. Hans is like second, which is that's a lot. Increase in rating. Figure C and D shows that had the fastest and largest increase in FIDE classical elo. When compared to the list of his peers and other notable players, when considering all of their classical over-the-board games played after they reached 2,500 elo. This the elo this bar graph, or is it a line graph? I think this line graph shows elo change over time after achieving 2,500 elo. Hans is the pink line, and as you can see from 2,500 elo, he increased a lot, and it's like between 1 to 2 years, he's already in 2,700. That's actually a lot of increase. And then this is the time. Where is Hans? The Hans actually time took Hans took less time than everyone else to reach that much, to reach 2700 elo. Okay. Note that Hans Mommeriter achieved a life rating of 2700 after. Oh, okay. Plateau in strength. Furthermore, as set forth in Figure E, Hans also had two rising plateaus that are uncharacteristic of the class of improving chess prodigies who become elite GMs. From January 2016 to August 2018, 32 months, 297 FIDE rated games, his rating fluctuated between 2254 to 2350. He then gained 89 points from August to September 2018 before settling to a new plateau between 2,400 and 2,500 from September 218 to January 2021. 40 months, 202 games played during the COVID pandemic era. So I think this is the rule. This is the rating, like the increase and decrease. As you can see, the over from 213 November to 222 September, there's an overall increase like from 200 to 200, 700, sorry, 2,700. Oh, it's like, okay. See figures F and G show this phenomenon compared to other players. So Hans is blue, and Hans, for some reason here's like a for some reason this part and this part, like they stopped, like they stopped the rating stopped increasing. So okay, and this the elo changed by age. Then Hans is pink again. You can see there's a decrease and then a really high increase and then it decrease. It's just like it's increase and decreasing, but overall still increase basically. Then the age of GM. As set forth in Table 4, other key data point that inform our analysis is the fact that there are 13 players currently ranked in the world's top 50 players who are younger than 25. Hans is the only player who became a GM at age 17. The other 12 players all achieve a title between ages 12 and 16. So I think this like when this is the age when they got a GM, if I'm not wrong. Then this is their current age now. Then this is the classic thing. Then this is who are they? Ruja, the top. Okay. As an active FIDE rated player at ages 15, 16, 17, pre-pandemic years, Hans has rated ratings of 2313, 2460, and 2465 respectively. The conventional wisdom is that if you are not a GM by age 14, it is unlikely that you can reach the top level of chess. While that statement may seem discouraging, it has been borne out in modern chess. Greats like Fischer, Kasparov, Carlsen, and almost all of the modern GMs who have been established as top 5 players were notable GMs by age 15 at the latest. Hans over the board data analysis. While chess.com cheat detection is tuned to catch cheating in our faster online time controls, we study of Hans over the board play using the same statistical tools and compared him to his peers. Given his outstanding rise in strength and rating, we considered several questions and examined the relevant data with the intention to investigate whether Hans has cheated over the board. First point, how does Hans' strength in over the board compare to other players? We analyzed all over the board games played by these players against 2500 plus rated opponents since the start of 2022 and calculated their overall strength score. Hans is rated 6 out of 13. As shown in figure H, this puts him roughly in the middle of somewhat tight band of strength scores, which is not on its own noteworthy. So this is the aggregate strength score by player and Hans is 6. Yeah, Hans is 6. Then second pointer, does Hans have an unusually shaped plot of games based on strength score? A player who has played differently at different times might show two separate distributions of game strength, which might look like more two lumps, bimodical, not an even distribution. Hans' distribution graphs look similar to those of his peers, with a fairly simple and apparently uh, unimodal distribution. These graphs are contained in Appendix X1. I'm not sure where it is. Third pointer. Was Hans' rise in strength not rating sudden, jumping from a 2500 level of play immediately to up to a 2650 level of play, which might indicate unnatural growth, or did his strength follow a more natural progression? The data based on chess.com strength score in Hans games and events does not necessarily indicate a stepwise progression that you might see if a player suddenly went from one level of strength to another. We graphed his performance in events by strength score over time and compared it to his peers in Appendix X2. Each event in the plot represents one or more games, and the fit is weighted by the number of moves in that event. Which means more moves, stronger effect. Thus, despite Hans having several events with really very high strength scores within ages of 12.5 and 13.5, those represent events with only one single game in them. And in manual review, those interview games are found to be unremarkable, many clear endgame positions, etc. Fourth pointer, has Hans played an unusually high number of near perfect games? There has been some analysis posted online suggesting Hans has played an anomaly high number of perfect games. We have carefully analyzed many other presentations found online that claim to have found potential evidence of cheating, including asserting that Hans have played more than 100% games, etc. We have concluded that the methodology and the underlying tools used in those analyses do not meet our standard. Therefore, Chess.com gathered all of Hans and other related players' games from 2020 onward, played against a 2,500 rated players, and removed any games we determined were lacking sufficient measurable observations. Based on our process of removing known book moves, and some simple endgame moves, and then measured the percentage of those games which were above 100 on our strength score. Based on this analysis, as shown in Figure 1, Hans actually one of the lower percentages of near perfect games when compared to serial players. So this bar graph shows the percentage of games achieving strength score of 100. And Hans, I think around 15% of his games are that. So in conclusion, but we cannot definitely prove that Hans' rise in strength is entirely natural. We have also found no indications in the game data to suggest otherwise. While some have suggested that a move-by-move analysis by humans may surface some oddities in move choice or analysis, there is nothing in our statistical investigation to raise any red flags regarding Hans' over-the-board play and rise. Hans events review in detail. As part of Hans' overall over-the-board performance, in addition to an aggregate view, we also wanted to review his strongest individual events in greater detail. We looked for overperformances, including those based on his or strength of play in each event, and versus his overall strength that year. As noted previously, Chess.com has built an expertise working with online play and faster time controls. We have never been responsible of monitoring over the board classical events among top players. And given that we are not organizers of governing federation for any of these events, we do not want to make any conclusive statements regarding whether these events were played fairly. We are publicly sharing a subset of data regarding his individual events, though many of the elements in our internal fair play reports are proprietary and have been removed from this report. We also want to highlight that we do not have access to time usage data, which is something we inherently have for all online games played on chess.com. We are highlighting some of the strongest events we believe could merit further investigation based on the data and a manual review by our fair play team. Those are highlighted in yellow in Appendix X.3. X. The Springfield Cup and the game with Magnus Carlsen. Finally, the game between Hans and Magnus at the Springfield Cup does, on its own, merit analysis, and its results, circumstances, and explanation are unique and have become the object of immense public debate and controversy. Hans beat Magnus in a classical game with the black pieces, breaking Magnus' 53-game unbeaten streak and becoming one of the only 5 players in the past 5 years to beat Magnus while he was playing with the white pieces. Hans explained that his success was not anything special, and largely due to Magnus having played quite poorly, and having miraculously prepared specifically for the opening that Magnus played. By some miracle, I had checked this today and it's such a ridiculous miracle that I don't remember why I checked it. In fact, Magnus only played for G3 twice previously, both before 2010. And the position after Hans castle on move 4 has never been seen of any of Magnus's games. Hans, in a later interview, commented that Magnus had previously played on the opening against Wesley So in the 2018 London Chess Classic. but there is no such game on record. Magnus did play the G3 Nimzo Indian against Wesley So in a rapid game in Kolkata in 2019, but the move order and emerging position in that game had no similarities to the game against Hans. Hans 9 C takes on D4 had only been played once previously in a June 2022 titled Tuesday game between Rasmus Servin and Stelios Hakas. In the post-match analysis on move 13, Hans proposed the error 13 Queen H4, saying Queen H4 might be a move here. This move loses the bishop on G5 without any obvious compensation or follow-up. This moment, among others, oh, led to criticism from other top chess players who were surprised that a player who could outplay Magnus so easily with the black pieces could then suggest such a move in the game that he had just played. After proposing the move, Hans requested to see the NG evaluate say. What does it say? What does the NG say? To confirm that this move lacked the purpose. The analysis and dependence on the NG seems to be at odds with the level of preparation that Hans claimed was at play in the game and the level of analysis needed to defeat the world chess champion. We also measured that for the first three games of the Springfield Cup, Hans played with a chess.com strength score of 97.17. After round 3, the event organizers, in response to the cheating allegations, added a 15-minute delay to the broadcast of the chess moves. For rounds 4 to 9, Hans received a strength score of 86.31. Other players also had some interesting changes in strength, and measured by chess.com. This can be attributed to any number of factors, including the ensuing situation after Magnus withdrew, different opponents, etc. In our view, no conclusion should be made from this data. So I think this is from from this is are the contestants, and then these are the rounds. When during rounds 1 to 3, I think the accuracy of the games, if I'm not wrong. Then rounds 4 to 9 after that, then the accuracy of those games. Then they say the change of this, and Hans Niemann decreased the most. Several days after, several days later, after returning to Norway, Magnus shared in a private conversation that his experience in playing Hans was unlike a game he has ever had. He emphasized that he has competed against numerous prodigies and players who exert themselves and show great effort during a long, difficult fight like this game. He described Hans' level of exertion as effortless, and felt he had never had a chance to get back in the game. It was extremely unusual for Magnus to have known for his resourcefulness. Hans' lack of emotion or excitement about the result was also noted by several others. Below are examples of the reactions of notable players who have beaten Magnus. So this is basically all the names of the website, the links. I mean, not the website, the links. In our view, this game and the surrounding behaviors and explanations are bizarre. And in light of Hans' past and his record settling rise, it's understandable that some of the chess community have used this game as a way to justify additional scrutiny of Hans' play. Hmm. However, we are currently unaware of any evidence that Hans cheated in this game, and we do not advocate for any conclusions regarding cheating being made based on this one encounter. XI Conclusion. After Hans beat Magnus and Magnus withdrew from the Springfield Cup, we removed Hans from chess.com, upcoming GCC, and withdrew his access to the site until he could conduct further review. And while Magnus' actions prompted us to re-access the situation, Magnus did not talk with us in advance about our decisions or ask for or directly influence those decisions at all. Magnus was and is operating entirely under his own direction as in chess.com. However, given the circumstances, which included a player who had significantly and immediate history of cheating, the world chess champion made the loudest statement in chess history. And and invitational event starting in a matter of days, we felt like we had to act. We communicated privately with Hans via email. We never wanted to intend, we never wanted or intended to have a public discussion about these decisions. And frankly, we believe we could have resolved things privately. We understand that the timing of our email and Hans publicizing it may have led a number of people in the chess community to believe that chess.com knew Hans was cheating over the board, or was under pressure from Magnus, or had some new evidence indicating that Hans was cheating over the board. The much less interesting truth that none of this is true. While there are many remarkable signals and unusual patterns in Hans' path as a player, and while some games, behaviors, and actions are hard to understand, Chess.com is unaware of any concrete evidence proving that Hans is cheating over the board, or has ever cheated over the board. Chess.com has historically not been involved in over the board or classical chess fair play decisions, and we do not run over the board or classical chess events. Our investigation has revealed that while there has been some noteworthy online play that has caught our attention as suspicious since August 2020, we are unaware of any evidence that Hans have engaged in online cheating since then. Our investigation has concluded that he did, however, cheat much more than he has publicly admitted to, including many prize events, at least 25 stream games, and 100 plus rated games on chess.com, as recently as when he was 17 years old. We believe Hans is an incredibly strong player and a talented individual. That said, given his history on our side, we do not believe we could ensure that he would play fairly on our online events until we could re-evaluate the evidence and our protocols. Nevertheless, and to be clear, it is not our position that Hans should be limited or banned from over-the-board chess. Hans online and over-the-board chess behaviors may be completely different, and that should be taken into consideration. We have shared our findings with FIDE and will cooperate with any investigation or requests they pursue. It is our belief that over-the-board chess organizers should be taking much stronger precautions against cheating by all players to ensure fair play. To keep the game fair, all players should be playing under the same conditions and check before, during, and after matches during the appropriate technologies and methods to counter any outside assistance. We reiterate our message on September 8th, 2022, that we would like to have a conversation with Hans to provide an explanation and response with the hope of finding a resolution, where Hans can again participate on chess.com. We want the best from Hans. We want the best for Magnus. We want the best for chess. We want the stability, fairness, and joy in the chess community, not turbulence, conspiracy, and accusations. We have a role to play in this. And we acknowledge that we can do better in our transparency, timing, and messaging moving forward, and look forward to cooperating with FIDE and other in the chess community to serve the game. Eric, Danny, and the Fair Play team in chess.com. I think that's the end of the what they need to say. It's actually more, but no, it's not more. I think the rest of the interview is just saying the appendix. Like remember, like in the start of the let me find it. Like you know those when they say view appendix A, appendix B, and then there's also those graphs. Yeah, I think that is what that's behind. Oh, it's all the way behind. It's all here. So this is the Hans Niemann strength score. It's jump and then go down. And this is just basically talking about every player's strength score, I think. Okay, yeah, still strength score. Just talking about people's strength score. Okay, then this is talking about the strength by age. So strength goes high. I think like the highest strength is here, about near 100, and then the fit is like slowly increasing. And then they're also talking about other players, the strength by age, the strength and the fit. Okay. still saying about players. Okay. Wow. Okay, then this is the. I think this is the games and the win rate of the games. Right? Well, this is a lot. I won't go through this. Hans Niemann report exhibit. Oh, this they are the exhibit A and the email. This I think it's the email that chess.com like banned him or something. And exhibit B. I think this one Danny sent him something. Yeah. Then exhibit C. This is the I'm not sure. I won't go through this. Which page? This is just more. I think this emailing Hans about something. The fair play team is emailing Hans privately. Okay, and we are done. And yeah, that was the end of the report. Also, comment down below what do you think. Did Hans cheat or not? I personally think I don't think Hans cheated lah because I don't like there's not enough evidence to prove it. Like even like this 72 page report, there's like so much evidence. They talk about the Hans stuff and Magnus and what the win rate, the strength score, and everything. But I don't think that's like enough. There's like no real proof that Hans cheated. So thanks for watching and have a nice day.